So, you may have heard people say if you have a powerful why, you can do anything. If you have a powerful why, you can do anything. Welcome to the live, you guys. So, I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about what I shared earlier in my stories this week, which is a topic that's very near and dear to me, which is Huntington's disease. And I share about this topic because it seems like it could have maybe not a lot to do with relationships, but I share about Huntington's disease because it is something that affects my family. And I know that there's something that affects everybody. Everybody's dealing with something. Everybody's got some sort of challenge that they're facing. And maybe they're facing it with family. And maybe they're facing it by themselves. And maybe nobody knows about it. And so my why, my motivating factor when I'm most scared to do things is Huntington's disease. And so what is the background behind that? Well, when I was 18, I found out that my dad had this disease called Huntington's disease. And if you haven't heard of it before, what it looks like is Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and ALS at the same time. It's pretty freaking ugly. To me, it's one of the worst things that you could go through. And at the time, my dad wasn't involved in my life. My mom raised me by herself. And so my dad was not really interested in being a dad. And so I wasn't really that interested in engaging with him. Had a lot of resentment towards him. And then I found out later, when I was 18, and my dad took me out for a movie and he was slurring his words and he was kind of stumbling as he was walking. And I thought, Mom, I don't want to see my dad again. He's drunk. And she said to me, no, Simon, he's got Huntington's disease. I'm like, what's that? She gives me the details. Now, why I'm bringing this up with you now is one, to give awareness towards Huntington's disease, but another is to kind of have some compassion and openness for that we're all dealing with something. Everybody's dealing with something. Whether it's a challenge in your family or a disease or what have you, we've all got something that may be influencing what we believe is possible or what we believe we're capable of. I found this out at 18. I also found out that there's a 50% chance that I'm positive for this gene. Fast forward half a decade later, and I get tested for this gene, and I find out I too have the genetic predisposition to Huntington's disease, which, according to modern science, there's a 100% chance that I'll get Huntington's disease as well if I live long enough to do so. Now, I'm committed that that's not going to happen. We're going to find a cure. We're going to figure this thing out. But why I'm sharing this with you again today is because for me, I'm so present to how short life is because of that disease that when I'm scared to take action, I'm more scared of the not taking action. When I think about something I'm afraid to say, whether it's getting married to my wife and us expecting our first child, or conversations with my mom or family that I get nervous about, whatever it might be, I go, you might not get to ever have this conversation later. Huntington's disease is so brutal that it just takes your brain away. And so if that's the case, then what's scarier? Not saying the thing or saying it knowing that you don't get a chance to say it later. And so often, we do this in my program, often we're actually not motivated by the thing that we really want. I really, really want to be in a loving relationship. I really, really want to have my partner step up in new ways. I really, really want my career to be fulfilling. Often that's actually not the thing that motivates us. Typically what motivates us is the thing that we're scared of. But we're often not present to that fear. So if you take a relationship, for example, maybe you really want to be in a loving, committed relationship. And maybe you see someone you want to talk to, but then you get nervous and scared. Or maybe you're dating someone and you don't bring up the things that you want to bring up to take that relationship to the next level. So fear stops you. But there's a risk in either direction, right? If we don't take any action, there's a risk also. So what is the risk if I take no action? Well, I use Huntington's disease like if I take no action, well, the result is down the road, my brain's going to fall apart and I won't be able to do anything. And so if you look at it like a relationship standpoint, okay, if I don't talk to this person, if I don't set my boundary, if I don't have this scary conversation, if I don't, try to make somebody laugh, even though I'm embarrassed or worried, well, the alternative is I don't get to meet someone new. I don't get what I want in a relationship. Okay, what if that keeps happening for years? All of a sudden, the fear of not getting what you want can motivate you to take that action you're scared of. And so this is something I do in my program where we start to look at, okay, what is it you really want? Okay, what would it take to have that? Now, what's the predictable future if you don't take action on this? What's the likely picture for you if you don't take any action? You get really specific about that, suddenly it's like, oh shit, I want to take some action. I want to make some shifts. That's like sometimes in my content, I'm looking to encourage people to get fed up. Being fed up is such a good thing. Like, I'm fed up with how this relationship's going. Like, I'm fed up with being single. Like, I'm fed up with the way my family talks to me at family reunions. Whatever it is. Being fed up means you're now no longer willing to tolerate what's going on, which means you might just be courageous enough to make a change. But often it takes getting fed up for things to change. And so part of that is being able to look and go, what's the predictable future if I don't take action? Yeah, if you do take action, it might be scary. You might get embarrassed. You might get worried. You might make a fool of yourself. You might get rejected. But what if you take no action at all? Invite people to engage in that question. What's the predictable future if you don't take action? What's the predictable future if I keep putting up with treatment that I don't like? Well, the predictable future is you're going to keep getting that treatment until it gets interrupted. Well, let's play that out. Let's play that out for a year or 3 or 10. All of a sudden it's like, hell no, I'm not up for that. But most of the time we don't even look that far ahead. So we keep a circle going, a circle of stress, a circle of disappointment, a circle of behavior that we don't like or don't want. Once we get present to what it's costing us to keep that up, suddenly taking action is just like a no-brainer. It's still going to be scary, but you might have more courage to take that action. That's why my program is called Love Over Fear. Choosing love over fear rather than waiting for fear to disappear and then be loving. It doesn't really work like that. So wanted to give you an insight to my experience and my why, and hopefully you got something out of that for those of you that joined.